Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your NXT Takeover New Orleans preview and prediction. This show looks like it's going to have possibly up to 3 match of the year candidates on it. This is an absolutely stacked card out the ass. I am so excited for this. John, I know you are too, but let everyone know how you're feeling, baby.
I mean, brother, I am fucking pumped for this shit. I just want to say, hey, Jordan Amos, he said he's actually here for once all hype. Like, everybody's fucking hyped for this, dude. Everybody's fucking feeling good about it. Well, I know Alex Foster was still feeling a bit mad, but hopefully our preview predictions can perk him up a little bit for this show. As it stands right now, you know I always like to put a number to this feeling. I'm a full 10 out of 10, baby. This card on paper looks like a fucking masterpiece. And given NXT's track record, you know, there's reason to be confident in their execution. I just hope that we're not getting a bit too overhyped, but I can't lie about my feelings. I'm at a full 10 out of 10 for this show. So, yeah, I'm ready for it, man. What about you?
I'm going to give them a little room to improve and say 9.5.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. But, yeah, I haven't been this hyped for a takeover, well, really ever. This is fucking huge. This is great. Yeah.
It's definitely been a while since either one of us has been this excited, if ever, about a takeover. So we do have 5 matches on this show. Unfortunately, not 6. I really wanted Zelina versus Candice LeRae, but we can't have that. Maybe at a future takeover, maybe not. I don't know. That story might be over, but we are still here, guys. We still have these 5 crazy awesome matches to talk about. John, are you ready to get into this?
Let's get right into it, brother.
We will open things up to talk about the Tag Team Championship match, the Undisputed Era defending against the Authors of Pain and the team of Pete Dunne and Roderick Strong. This is not only for the NXT Tag titles, it is also to determine the winners of the Dusty Classic this year.
Yes, winner takes all. And I am hyped as fuck for this because here's the thing. AOP really shines when they're sharing the ring with quality workers. So, like, I think they perform well in big match situations because usually they share those big matches with just exemplary competitors. Dunne and Strong, I was talking to you about this last night over Rocket League. I have really grown to like this team. I feel like their chemistry is on point. I like the contrasting styles that come together to really complement one another. And just this whole idea of Roderick Strong earning Pete Dunne's respect, which is just such a weird feeling because, I mean, Strong is a legit veteran. He was once in a Ring of Honor faction called the Decade, and that was predicated on being in the business 10 plus years. And Pete Dunne is only like in his late 20s and he's the UK champion. But like in this context, Dunne is more impressive than Strong, and I really like that story. And then you've got the Undisputed Era, which is a great fucking faction, and this really teases the possibility that Adam Cole is going to compete twice in one night. Yeah. And I do want to emphasize possibility because now this is the show to really talk about everything. We had a lot of people in chat speculating, oh, could Cole be replaced? Is he going to, you know, call up because, you know, he defies gender, in my opinion, and compete twice? You know, what is he going to do here? So, I don't know. Do you want to talk about the NXT Tag Title Tournament going on at Access first before we go back to this match, or how do you want to talk about this?
No, here's what I want us to do. I want us to talk about our NXT TakeOver predictions. And I also then, after each match that corresponds to each title, I want us to talk about that tournament after the match we've already talked about in full.
All right, so how about this? How about you go first? I want your thoughts on this first. Give us your breakdown.
Okay, I'm going to keep this really simple. As of last night, I was pretty satisfied just saying, oh yeah, Undisputed Era retains. But I think a lot of the match winners, a lot of the champions walking out of this show are going to be determined by who's being called up after WrestleMania. And I think the Authors of Pain are getting called up, and I think Adam Cole is getting called up. So that only leaves one team. And yeah, that's right. I'm picking Dunne and Strong to win everything.
That's very interesting because remember what we said in Rocket League last night, that I was initially inclined to pick Dunne and Strong, but I also told you that any predictions I told you here aren't necessarily a commitment because I know when it would come time for the lights to be on and for me to give a definitive answer, I might have waffled. Yeah. You might say that I was an awful waffle, shades of Chuck Taylor there. And I honestly don't know because I'm torn between. I'm 150% convinced AOP is being called up. So like I'm taking them out of the equation immediately. Where
And
I'm
you know what? I know I only said Adam Cole, but I'm going to extend that. I think that the Undisputed Era as a faction is being called up after Mania.
Okay, interesting. Because see, here's the thing for me. More than call-ups really is the question because Undisputed Era is crafty and Adam Cole, he's that wily son of a bitch. So is he going to replace himself with a Dijak? Somebody even said Cesar Bononi may actually really don the t-shirt this time. I wouldn't go that far, but Dijak I think is a definite possibility. It's a takeover. You do big things at a takeover. A guy debuting in that context I would regard as legitimately a big thing.
Yeah.
So it really leaves me torn. So here's what I'm going to say. I don't think Dunne and Strong are going to win anymore. I've changed my mind. I think it'd be huge for Dunne to be a dual champion and only 24. And Roderick certainly deserves to hold a championship. I still think he's a strong babyface. He's put together a great body of work, but I don't think it's going to happen for them. I think it's more interesting seeing them resume feuding for the UK championship personally, which they may or may not do. So I am going to go with the Undisputed Era, but I'm going all in, and I'm going to go in with our chat. I'm going to say it's going to be Dijak and O'Reilly, not Cole and O'Reilly, that retain those tag team titles. I think Cole's going to take himself out because the whole thing with Adam Cole is he's got Fish and O'Reilly's back, but I think only in so much as he knows that they've got his back. And I think he stops having their back in that way directly when it conflicts with his own personal interests. And you saw how passionately he spoke about being North American champion. He even told Regal, when Regal put up that he could take himself out of the ladder match, Cole immediately said, didn't even entertain the thought, that's not happening. So I think Cole is going to want to be at 100% for that ladder match because he knows the beating he's going to endure. But obviously he knows that would ruin his investment, right? Because then O'Reilly would start looking at him a certain way, like, oh, what, you don't care about me? My championship doesn't matter? So this is the compromise. Dijak's the compromise. I'm picking Dijak and O'Reilly to retain the championships.
Wow. Very interesting. Very interesting. I like that. I like how creative you got. And I honestly, if I had to sort of go with what I want to happen, I would prefer your outcome to mine. I think mine is a little bit more on the boring side. It's fun because we do get a title change, but I mean, I just love Donovan Dijak. I think he's great. And even though we have been advertised 2 Adam Cole matches, and I would be very disappointed if we didn't get both of them, I still think that Dijak is a very, how do I put this? He's not necessarily suitable to replace Adam Cole, but he is a pretty damn great competitor on his own right. So I love Dijak. I love your prediction because it's really kind of almost fantasy booking that could potentially come true, and I hope it does come true. So that all being said, let's actually talk about the Access Tag Team Tournament. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so there are 8 teams in this. We've got Mustache Mountain, Sabatelli and Moss, Street Profits, the team of Cesar Bononi and Adrian Jaoud, Sanity, the Forgotten Sons, which is Wesley Blake and Steve Cutler, TM61, and the team of Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch.
Now, are we going to go round by round, or do you just want to go into who we think is going to win this tournament and how the title match is going to go?
Who you got winning?
TM61. I've got TM61 winning this, but I don't think they're going to beat the Undisputed Era, which may still be represented by Dijak and O'Reilly, because I don't know how long Fish is going to be out. But yeah, I'll have Dijak and O'Reilly retaining there. Because I think if TM61 is going to win the belts, it's not going to be at a freaking Access show. It's going to be at a takeover. So it's not going to happen here. But it could be the beginning of the feud, though, between the Undisputed Era and TM61, which I would be totally open to. Now, what about you? What are you thinking about this?
Oh, man. I'll tell you what. Here's what I'll say. I think that if they wanted to go for story here, which obviously, that's my preference 10 times out of 10. Trent Seven and Tyler Bate weren't able to compete in the Dusty Classic because of Tyler Bate's injury. They should win this tournament and then get the title shot that they never were able to get because of that injury.
Right.
But now it becomes, do Seven and Bate go on to win the tag titles from the team that replaced them in the Dusty Classic. I really like that story. I'm going to go ahead and since you went a little wild with speculating something that would happen that hasn't even been teased, I'm going to go wild with speculating something that never really happens, and that is a house show title change. I think that Trent Seven and Tyler Bate, Mustache Mountain, are walking out of WrestleMania weekend as the NXT Tag Team Champions.
Oh, wow. All right. Okay. Yeah. I dig it, man. I dig it.
You can tell the story on the next episode of NXT. You can say Saturday was an amazing match. We got the three-way, and Authors of Pain were dominant, and Undisputed Era tried their hearts out, but at the end of the day, the pure talent of Strong and Dunne overcame. They won the tag titles, but then in the Access tournament, Mustache Mountain, who were replaced by Bate or by Dunne and Strong in the Dusty Classic, made their way to the finals and won the tournament. And then on Sunday, the day of WrestleMania, it was on Saturday. On Sunday, the day of WrestleMania, they defeated the men that replaced them in the Dusty Classic to become the rightful NXT Tag Team Champions.
You know what? I think that's fucking beautiful. Not so much that I'm going to switch sides. I'm really going to try and stay staunch in my own camp and really see which one of us has got like the superior vision in terms of which one panned out. But I really do love your vision, man. I think it's clever, but also maintaining its simplicity, which I think is a good thing. You know, I don't think it overly bungles things, but it does take a creative route. So we'll have to see what they decide to do with the tag division. And really, between your vision and mine, and I hope one of them gets actualized, not saying that there aren't any interesting alternatives, but just the idea that this is our thought process really shows that after TakeOver, the NXT tag division is going to be in a very interesting position to me.
I think it mostly just comes down to this is the least interesting match on the card, and we're just working on trying to make it more interesting with booking.
Yeah, I mean, and even so, like, even just the match on itself, if you don't go wild and, like, you would just keep grounded to these three guys, I'm still inclined to pick Undisputed Era, and I think it should be a really fun opener. Like, this should be an opener that gets New Orleans into it. I mean, they're already, I think, going to have that natural high of, you know, being what the weekend is. But I think this match is really going to like set them ablaze, get them, you know, nice and be like, yeah, it's TakeOver. Fuck yeah.
And you know what? If the Undisputed Era does retain, I would predict Sanity to win the tournament and then lose to Undisputed Era in the tag title match.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. Well, we shall see what happens, but I guess we've said all that we can say about this match. So let us move on.
All right, then let's move on to the women's championship match. Ember Moon versus Shayna Baszler. John, I think this is the only match on this entire card that's going to be a complete and total consensus, whether it's us or the chat, regardless. I'm picking Shayna. I'm assuming you're picking Shayna. What's going on, brother? It's I know it's easy to really waffle about it just because we were both so dead set on Shayna winning it in the first match, but I really don't see how they can keep dragging this title reign out, especially when I feel like Ember Moon is also an inevitable call-up.
Yeah, I mean, I get everything that you're saying, but like
you're really picking up what I'm laying down.
Yeah, I'm picking up what you're laying down, but it's just like when you've lost your footing with an ill prediction last TakeOver, you come to the next TakeOver with a bit more of a conservative temperament. You know, you're a bit more tentative about making a certain prediction. I will say I think the buildup has been good, you know, for what it's been. Shayna is so believable and such a legitimate threat in the women's division. And what excites me about Shayna, and I'll say it again, every female babyface that works with her is going to be better having done so. Yep. Like the one feud I really want, and you know I've said this over and over, Dakota Kai and Shayna Baszler. I want it. The interactions they've had, I feel like have the potential for an amazing NXT Women's Championship, you know, feud, and really a solid NXT Women's Championship match at a future TakeOver. You know, and that's the thing. Like Shayna presents an opportunity for talents like Dakota Kai, who ever since the NYC really haven't had that chance to break out. You know, Shayna being that kind of threat gives them the opportunity to do so, which is what really excites me about her as champion. Ember, I mean, you're right. She was in the Women's Rumble a few months back. Like, even just giving her that nod, I feel like it's like saying,
she's also going to be in the Women's Battle Royal on WrestleMania, too.
See, and I only knew about Kyrie being in that. It's weird that Kyrie and Ember keep being in the same things. Makes me wonder if Kyrie's really long for this NXT world.
Well, from what I understand, 6 or 7 NXT women are going to be in that Battle Royal on Sunday.
Well, that's good at least, because that's more than the Women's Rumble, if I remember. Because if I remember right, it was only Kyrie and Ember last time for the Women's Rumble. So where do I go? And that's the question, because I really am torn on this. In the end, I will come down on the side of Shayna again. And I really do hope it happens, because I think there are a lot more promising feuds with Shayna as the face of the women's division than with Ember, because I'd love for Iconic Duo to be champs, but I'm starting to think that they're going to be an NXT kind of alum down the road that never got to hold the championship. Like that's just my mindset. They'll be like Becky Lynch. They've competed for it, never won it. So in that way, I'm just kind of shifting gears. I'm thinking about the future. The future is Baszler. The future is Dakota Kai. The future, maybe tentatively Kairi Sane, because I don't know what they really think about her in terms of call-up potential.
I mean, I think it's pretty clear cut that once Shayna gets the title and then gets through the Ember Moon rematch, Kairi is kind of waiting in the wings. Her and Dakota are like the next 2 feuds, and you really can do it in any order.
Right, absolutely. So I am going to go with Shayna, but it's with a bit more tentativeness than last TakeOver, so we'll see if she can pull it out this time.
Yeah, and I'm the opposite. I'm like, I feel like at the last TakeOver, I was like, yeah, Shayna's going to win, but also I wouldn't be surprised if they had Ember retain. And I think you and I even had a discussion on our preview predictions for the last TakeOver talking about, like, there needs to be a return match, and I think the return match is going to be the bigger deal, and that's going to be at TakeOver New Orleans. And you also, I remember you saying, and this might have been on like a five Fave Fives, or it might have been in preview predictions, but I remember you saying that the spot where Ember goes for the Eclipse and Shayna catches her in a triangle, you said that that's the kind of spot that you want to happen in the rematch. Yeah,
the Kirifuda clutch. And
right. Her catching Ember out of the Eclipse to hit that, to lock that in, I think is a move that you said is a move that should happen in match 2, not match 1.
Right.
And so, I definitely agree. And I think might even be how Shayna wins this match.
Yeah, you know what? You reminded me of something that I said, so I'll go with that too, since I said it. I'll own it. I will go and say that Shayna should win in dominant fashion. And I could even see like Ember not giving up a passing out, which that's the way you want to kind of just fade Ember Moon out. That's fine with me. But it's time for the reign of Baszler to begin. So hopefully it happens.
Absolutely. All right, guys. And we're going to have a little more to say about Ember and possibly Kairi and Dakota and possibly a bunch of other NXT women tomorrow when we talk about the women's battle royal on WrestleMania. So up next, the thing is, guys, we basically have a triple main event on this show because we've got the.
Oh, well, Ashton, not to cut you off, but did we want to talk about
that's right. The women's NXT tournament. That's right, for access. I forgot. Thank you, John.
Yeah. So the brackets are, we've got Nikki Cross versus Aaliyah, Dakota Kai versus Lacey Evans, Kairi Sane versus Bianca Belair, Peyton Royce versus Candice LeRae.
Yeah. So I'm struggling with this. So you don't have to do this, but I'm going to kind of stair step my way towards the finals and try and figure out who I think is going to win each match. Nikki Cross over Aaliyah seems obvious, and then Nikki Cross's opponent should probably, unfortunately, be Lacey Evans, considering Lacey just talked shit about Nikki, and that kind of seems to be something they're building to. On the other side, I'm guessing Kairi over Bianca. Peyton, Candice, I have a little more up in the air, but I'm guessing because they still have Peyton as a heel, they'll have her win so that she could be Kairi's first opponent. And then the finals would probably be Nikki Cross versus Kairi, maybe?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. Because if you just go by face heel dynamic and you try and have every match be a face versus a heel, then the finals would have to be either Kairi Sane versus Lacey Evans or Nikki Cross versus Peyton Royce.
You know what, dude? Given that Kairi Sane's already facing Lacey Evans next week on NXT, they'll probably just do the match at Access as like a trial run or something, or just like to give the fans that too. So I'll actually go with Lacey Evans versus Kairi Sane. I'll flip that coin. And I guess you have to go with Kairi winning. It's weird for her getting a title shot at Access, and we're not like saying until next.
I mean, you saying that about how we're already getting Lacey versus, who was it, Kairi or Nikki? I forget.
Kairi.
We're already getting Lacey Evans versus Kyrie. I don't think that we're going to get that, twice in 4 days. You know what I mean?
Right. And
So,
see, I'm the opposite. I could see NXT giving us that twice in 4 days because they're different contexts.
Yeah, you and I are very, very opposite on that. I think that if we're doing that on Wednesday, I don't think there are any odds of all of that happening on Sunday as well. Because if it happens that close to each other, why even bother doing the match the second time around when you know who the better person is? So based on that, I kind of want to have Dakota Kai go over Lacey Evans. So I'm gonna actually say, and this might just be pure fantasy booking, but I'm gonna say my finals are gonna be Dakota Kai versus Peyton Royce. And just based on the fact that I do have Shayna winning, I'm gonna say Dakota Kai faces and loses to her, and then her first feud after she gets done with Ember is Kyrie.
All right, and I'm gonna stick with Kyrie versus Lacey Evans. You know, also that NXT likes to do those like voiceovers when they've got like updates and stuff, like if a shift happened in the main roster. Yeah. So I could see them even mentioning Access and how Kyrie beat Lacey, and Lacey's looking for revenge here. And, Lacey, I don't think we'll get it, but, you get the idea. So I'll still stick with Kyrie and Lacey, with Kyrie going over, but I don't see her beating Shayna Baszler on Access again. I feel like any big title change of that magnitude would be on a takeover. So,
yeah, all right, that's fair. So, yeah, I'm gonna roll with Dakota Kai winning the tournament and then losing to Shayna. Just kind of getting that out of the way early, because they'll highlight these tournaments on NXT, so they can say like, Dakota Kai went through the tournament, she won the thing, but then she faced Shayna Baszler, and despite Shayna having fought a long, grueling match against Ember Moon the night before, she still managed to make Dakota Kai tap out or pass out or whatever it is. Because I don't think that NXT is nearly as invested in Dakota Kai as they are Kairi Sane. So,
right, I would agree with that.
All right, so up next, we have, like I said earlier, and I appreciate you bringing up the women's tournament because I don't want to forget that stuff. And you know what? Here's what we're going to do now. Because there is no UK championship match on this card, let's talk about the UK tournament before we get into our main events. So we've got eight guys again. It's Lio Rush versus Buddy Murphy in the first round. That's going to be fucking insane. That's going to be amazing. Lince Dorado versus Raul Mendoza. Dan Matha versus Drew Gulak. And Mark Andrews versus Zach Gibson. Diamond Zach Gibson, John.
Oh shit! Kind of want to pick Zach Gibson knowing that, but you said Mark Andrews is in this tournament.
Yeah, Mark Andrews is in this tournament, and I'm picking him to win it.
I'm picking him to win too, and I think Dunne will retain. Dunne's been unstoppable.
Yeah. So I'm gonna actually say the finals are gonna be Mark Andrews versus Buddy Murphy. I love that. I will watch if that was live streaming on the network. I would watch the shit out of that.
Well, he is the best kept secret after all, or so he says. So
not anymore. Everyone knows how amazing he is now. It puts a smile on my face.
Nice. But yeah, man, that sounds like a sick final to me. I'll still go with Andrews to win. And again, like I said, when it comes to Andrews versus Dunne, Dunne's reign has been so dominant that again, I'm inclined to say, that you save that shit for a takeover. But see, the only thing that could change my mind is if I knew definitively that these Access, like the tournaments and the title matches, were going to be like aired on NXT TV.
That would be so much better, but it doesn't seem likely to happen. That's why I think like I'm going to really try not to predict any title changes, but it is so tempting to say like Dunne. Well, you know what though? Because I'm already picking Dunne and Strong to lose their tag title.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah. So I'm not going to have Dunne lose both of his titles on the same day. So as tempting as it is to have Mark Andrews beat him, I can't do it.
I hope that is a rivalry that we get on NXT TV because that sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll have Dunne retain. So now back to the takeover card. What are we talking about next?
3 main events, guys. 3 matches that you could argue all of them are the most important or the craziest or the best match on the card. I think all 3 of them are going to be match of the year contenders. I'm so excited about these 3 matches. As far as the order we're going to talk about them in, that's not necessarily the same order that I'm about to list them in, because I want to list them in the order of like holy shitness. And the biggest holy shit match to me is the main event that's probably going to actually go on last, and that's Andrade defending the world title against Aleister Black, because this is the match that we've been wanting for like 6 months now. Since Andrade won the title, we've been wanting Aleister Black to go at him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's been Andrade's been like the best thing going in WWE right now. And Aleister Black has been like the most well-protected and well-built babyface in WWE. So that's probably going on last. And I hope it goes on last because it is the world title match. But then the other match that everyone's arguing should go on last is Gargano versus Ciampa in the unsanctioned match. And I can understand if they wanted to do that last, as long as Andrade and Aleister are presented as the main event. And then after their match is over, we cut to like a parking lot or something. And we're like, listen, guys, this isn't officially a part of the show, but we have to show it to you anyway because it's such a big deal and we know you want to see it. So here's this match now too. And I want them to really treat it like it's not even really a part of the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that would be so cool. So Gargano Ciampa unsanctioned match. And then the other one is the North American title match, which is just going to be backshit crazy. It's going to be incredible. EC3, Adam Cole, Velveteen Dream, Killian, Dain, Lars Sullivan, Ricochet, ladder match. First ever NXT North American champion. And this is the match I want us to talk about first because I think this is, even though it is extremely important and the match is going to be amazing, I think this is the least important of the three main event type matches.
God, I am still, and I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to fucking happen. I am still so torn on picking a winner for this.
I have made a decision.
Let me just say before I hand the reins over to you, because I'm very curious what your decision is, and I kind of want to tickle some balls a little bit longer before we know what horse you're backing. I am really excited for this ladder match. You know, I think the belt looks gorgeous. We've already kind of talked about the aesthetics of the belt on the NXT Go Home Show review. I think because this is only what the second ladder match ever in NXT history. No, third. It should only be the third ever NXT ladder match in history. Because it was Neville versus Bo Dallas for the NXT Championship, DIY versus AOP for the tag titles, and now this. So, yeah, that's pretty fucking significant to me. I feel like the six guys are all deserving in their own... What was that?
I coughed.
Okay. I think all six of these guys are deserving in their own ways, even if the quote-unquote deserving part is just like they've got that aura about them because they're new, like EC3 and Ricochet, and especially if you already know them prior to NXT, like... You know, especially Ricochet's put together their body of work. Like, it makes sense that he's in this match. And yeah, before I get into my spiel, now I'll hand it back over to you because I really am hyped for this match. What horse are you backing, brother?
I am 100% behind Velveteen Dream to win this match.
Oh, God, that makes me so happy. Oh,
process of elimination, guys. And really... And I think we've done this before, so I kind of want us to do like a numbered list ranking of who we most want to win, and then another numbered list ranking of who we most think is going to win, if that makes sense.
Right.
So if I were to make a list of who I think is going to win, Dream is number one. Lars Sullivan is number two for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think Lars is that dude where I don't necessarily think he's getting called up soon, although I would pop if he did. But I think he really fills that perfect role as the second champion on NXT because you can treat the NXT world title as like the real wrestlers championship. Like that can be like almost like the title that the Intercontinental title served in the mid to late 90s and the early 2000s, where you always want that match to be defended in the best match of the night. And then Lars as the North American champion, it makes sense that the person representing North America also best kind of represents historical North American wrestling values, which is maybe not necessarily the best technical wrestler or the most exciting wrestler, but a guy that tells a story and like the big monster trope goes back decades in the US and all that stuff. And Lars fits that so well. Plus, I also think that kind of allows him to go into a bit of a holding pattern in NXT where he can continue dominating. He can continue getting a match on every takeover, but he doesn't necessarily need like new crazy, like weird stories with his character, which works. But I also think that it prevents him from being called up too early, which is also a huge feature. I think Lars would be a great choice. I just got to go with Dream, though, man. I just got to go with the Dream. Dream is my boy, and I think Dream, and it's honestly, it's also partially because of the promos that they cut yesterday. I think that they kind of built it so that everyone was talking about me, And then, of course, we got Ricochet not even thinking about the title and just saying, oh, I want people to see what I can do and what I'm capable of. And like, yeah, that's fine. You show off, you get your little exhibition, but you don't care about winning. Velveteen Dream was the only one that really said, imagine me holding that title. Imagine the sound of and new. And like, he was the only one that really made it about that. And that kind of gave me goosebumps and made me think like, oh my God, he might just be the chosen one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Can I take the reins and just give you my thought process now? Or is
Please
there anything else you
do,
want to do?
yes.
Okay, because you know that this match, like, I can't wait to sleep again. Honestly, because I've just been thinking about this match so much. First of all, loved your sentiments about Lars. Let me just get that right out of the way. I agree. Like, you look at the aesthetic of Lars Sullivan, like how he's built, and he really is a throwback to me of like a Bruno Sammartino or a Danny Hodge type. Just like that really strong dude that could just like take your head off. So yeah, I think, you know, that's great. Here's where I'm coming at it. Historically, monster type characters, I've never really known them to win ladder matches. So I'm counting out Lars and Killian Dain. Killian Dain would be an interesting choice because if you guys remember, I hated that this is true. Keep in mind, I wasn't in support of this, but from my perspective, NXT kind of anointed Killian Dain as the gatekeeper to the NXT championship because it seems like when any contender, prospective contender, wants to declare their intent and pursue their intent of the NXT championship, Killian Dain stands in the way. Yeah. And when you and I were talking last night, you said, well, wouldn't that mean that Killian Dain would be in the running because the North American Championship, that's going to be like their like mid-card title that like you win that and you have a good reign with that, then you could go on and be NXT champion. And I said, well, yeah, but then I fell back on my monster argument, not winning ladder matches. So Killian Dain, it's been.
And you know what? I can actually back your argument up because to me, the issue that I ran into with Killian Dain as the North American champion means that he would have to win against those guys that he's supposed to be keeping the gate from. And the whole point of the gatekeeper is to lose to guys and send them to the main event. And you can't do that if you're the champion without losing the championship to those people.
Exactly, which is also probably why Ishii will never be Intercontinental Champion, but I'll compose myself. So yeah, I have to count out Lars and Killian Dain. So then it leaves the Elite Four. Adam Cole, Velveteen Dream, EC3, and Ricochet. Ricochet to me, and I mean no disrespect, because I too, you got over your saltiness, Jarvis got over her saltiness, I have too. He's too brilliant to deny. But I think that's also precisely the problem. He is brilliant. He is stunning. And they're counting on that to really make this ladder match memorable. But memorable guys don't always win a ladder match either. They have a higher win percentage than monsters, but I don't really think by much. So
yeah, I mean, how many ladder matches has Kofi Kingston won?
Or Evan Bourne when he was around.
Exactly.
Right? So counting Ricochet out. Plus, no offense,
Christian.
Or Christian. And this is not
MVP.
Or MVP.
Sorry, I'll stop. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So this is not me disparaging Ricochet, but another thing too, like all those guys, although I will admit I did kind of like MVP on the stick a little bit, none of those guys could really talk either. And this is a legitimate criticism of Ricochet. I don't think the guy can talk. I still don't. I hope he can prove me wrong in his NXT run. I've liked his sound bites. I think he speaks well in sound bites, but please do never give this man extended mic time. So I'm counting him out. So now, Adam Cole, EC3, Velveteen Dream. EC3 is a huge threat because he's debuting. He got an entrance interrupting Regal and has spoken at length why he's the 1% of NXT and he's going to be the champion. Adam Cole, all jokes aside, because we've said he's Adam Cole, you know, it's felt like he's going to be an NXT champion for a while now. You know, it really is a question of when, not if. And the North American Championship would be an interesting step to take if you weren't in a hurry to make him NXT World Champion, which I can understand why, and we'll talk about the main event later. And then there's Velveteen Dream, who to me, right, and why I smiled because you backed him. I want this man to win so fucking bad. And now I'm going to be that fan right now. You guys have really seen when I let the fan loose and I talk about what wrestling means to me and why I love it. Velveteen Dream is one of the best stories in recent memory because this is Patrick Clark fucking super fan. Did fucking Tough Enough, didn't win. Guy that did win couldn't compete because I guess he got one too many concussions. It just didn't work out. So the runner-up, once again, better than the winner. Worked his ass off, We saw this gimmick intermittently and then finally got a full push with vignettes. And ever since then, he has put together a body of work that has been brilliant in its quality. If we're talking about deserving, and this is no disrespect to EC3 or Adam Cole, but nobody to me deserves that North American Championship more than Velveteen Dream for the fucking tenure he's had in NXT and the work that he's put together in NXT. And emotionally, he is my number one who I want to win, unequivocally, to steal a Lars Sullivan term. But logically, and I fucking hate myself for this, I've got to go EC3.
I knew you were going to do that!
And I hate it. I hate it. I hate it so fucking much, and I will actively be rooting against myself the entire time that ladder match is in progress, because it's not even out of an hatred for EC3, and you know that, because I've even told you, I'm still, like, waiting to render a verdict. But I know how I feel about Velveteen Dream. I don't need to wait on that. He is an amazing act. He's an amazing story and an amazing performer. He fucking deserves this. But you don't always get what you deserve. And NXT has had a habit of really bringing in these guys. We've talked about them really consuming talent that they can get their hands on. And then everybody else kind of slides down the totem pole. Now, I thought Velveteen Dream could be the anomaly, that his work would be enough to really show, hey, guys, keep me at the forefront of your minds. NXT can restore my confidence going the Dream route. But I think that they're just going to prove my cynicism right. And we're looking at our inaugural North American champion, EC3. However, that said, I should also add, not to jump the gun, but when we look at these access tournaments, the biggest one that I waffle on with a title change is the North American Championship. And the reason for that is because unlike the other champions, the inaugural North American champion won the belt in a freaking ladder match, which by its very nature is grueling, fatiguing, etc. So they could be primed to lose in an access, match. Although, granted, the tournament winner could also be fatigued. So that's the one I'm really waffling on, but I got to go with EC3 to win, and I hope Velveteen Dream fucking wins.
Yeah, I think basically I would follow all of your logic until you narrow it down to the final three. You narrowed it down to Velveteen Dream, Adam Cole, and EC3, right?
Right.
So I would follow all the logic up until that point, but then I would also say Adam Cole, I think I've already said a few times, is being called up, so I wouldn't put the title on him. And then it comes down to EC3 and Velveteen Dream, and I feel like EC3 is too obvious because he was like the inaugural, like he came out first and he was like the big, thank you, Regal, for inventing this title and just handing it to me and stuff. So he's very clearly meant to be a heel. And I think WWE tends to like inaugural champions to be baby faces. I mean, you can look back so freaking far. I mean, Finn Balor winning the Universal title, Tyler Bate winning the UK title, Neville and Oliver Gray were the first ever NXT tag champs. Seth Rollins was the first ever NXT champ. I want to say Paige was the first ever women's champ in NXT. Like any first titles, I feel like 99% of them in WWE go to baby faces. And I feel like the way EC3 is portrayed is very heelish, even if he does get positive reactions from the Full Sail crowd. Hopefully he won't get as positive of a reaction from the New Orleans crowd, but he probably still will. But Velveteen Dream, when that dude shows up, the crowd is out of their seats because they love him so much that they can't not stand for him.
But don't you feel like, just to kind of, because I can appreciate your logic, and you've certainly substantiated it enough for my liking.
I think I might know where you're going, but go ahead.
But yeah, if we're talking about presentation, wouldn't you also say Velveteen Dream is presented as a heel?
See, and that right there, I would say so far to a degree, yes. But here is my argument for that. EC3 was debuted as a heel this like 2 weeks ago. Like he isn't turning face anytime soon. Velveteen Dream, though, has kind of slowly been turning face over the course of the last few months. Really, I would argue since his match with Aleister Black, it's been kind of a slow burn to turn him face because of how over he is, how much the crowd loves him. And to a degree, he might even be pandering a little bit. Obviously, we got the Adam Cole face-off with Velveteen Dream, and Adam Cole is clearly meant to be a heel. And that was like the big face-off that we got in the middle of the ring where Cole did the Adam Cole baby and Velveteen Dream did his pose and stuff. So I do think really, I feel like Velveteen Dream's performance in this match and him winning it could be like the final sort of nail in the coffin of his face turn. Like it's going to be completed at that point.
I will say, again, I'm very sympathetic to your argumentation. I don't want to make it seem like I'm not. But
maybe,
I feel like
you know what, maybe it's really all just confirmation bias. Like, I'm just looking for reasons to say what I want to happen will happen.
But I mean, hey, if you were looking for reasons, they seem like solid reasons to your credit. Right. I'm just saying, if we're following that route, I almost feel like you'd have to put Ricochet back in the running because he is a pure babyface.
The reason that I do think Ricochet should be in consideration, but I think the reason that I don't have him winning the title or even in like my top 3 most likely to win is because of the way that he's been presented so far. It's been much more sort of like look at what this guy can do than look at how good of a wrestler this guy is or look at how much of a winner this guy is. It's more like, wow, impressive than wow, he's going to win a lot. Like that, you know what I think?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And even like his promo on Wednesday, it wasn't him talking about the championship. He completely ignored the championship and he only talked about getting a chance to show the people what he can do. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. Now, maybe they could do like the old, humble people win when you're least expecting it route and be like, oh, well, yeah, he didn't talk about the championship, but in not focusing so much on the superficial, he wound up being successful despite that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could see them taking that route, but since we're already kind of doing this, let's kind of do our rankings from 1 to 6, who we most want to win from 1 to who we least want to win 6, and then who we most likely think will win from 1 to 6, right?
Well, I'll go first for you on the who I want to win.
Okay.
Velveteen Dream, Adam Cole, Lars Sullivan, Ricochet, Killian Dain, EC3. Who I think will win, you could really invert it actually in a way. EC3, fucking hate it. Adam Cole, Ricochet.
Are you still there, John?
Sullivan.
Oh, okay. You cut out there. I heard Ricochet was the last name I heard.
Okay, let me just go through that again. EC3,
then Cole, then Ricochet, then
EC3, Adam Cole, Ricochet, Velveteen Dream, Killian Dain, and Lars Sullivan.
So you think Lars is the least likely to win?
Yes.
See, and I have him at number 2. I'm really high on the possibility of Lars winning the title because of kind of what I was explaining earlier with how that would kind of allow them to put him in a holding pattern and not have him called up too soon and give him matches at every takeover despite him not really having, any storylines going on. I think that that's just a good way to keep him featured, and I think that you need to with a character like that. But I would have him at number 2 behind Dream, and then at 3, I would probably put Ricochet, 4 EC3, 5 Killian Dain, and 6 Adam Cole because I think he's getting called up.
All right. I mean, dude, here's the thing too, if I'm being truthful, I think another reason why I'm not going Velveteen Dream is I really don't want to get my hopes up and then be shattered because I really You're protecting yourself, your emotions. I understand. I've done it before. Yeah, because like I really want to just emphasize how badly I want Velveteen Dream to win this. Like, I would be so happy for this fucking dude if after everything he's gone through, and that ladder match, he's going to get hurt. Like, it's going to be painful for all 6 guys if he has the North American Championship to show for it. But again, like, even me, for all my, they won't do title changes unless it's a takeover, the only time I really waffle on that is with this North American Championship tournament. So let's talk about that very quickly.
Yeah, let's talk about that because we've got another 8 guys in this. 4 matches to start things out. First one is Fabian Aichner versus Jason Kincaid, which is pretty cool to see because he's more of like a wrestle circus kind of guy from what I can tell. Akira Tozawa versus Kona Reeves. We've seen Kona Reeves occasionally, and we obviously know who Tozawa is. Chris Dijak, formerly known as Donovan Dijak, versus Arya Davari, which means Dijak is a face, I think, but I don't even know for sure.
Oh, shit.
Davari a face now?
No, I think he's still a heel.
Still. Okay, and then the final match, Hideo Itami versus Wolfgang. That's interesting. I don't really know who to pick there.
Can I just say something very quickly? Because
absolutely,
I didn't register that, like, Chris Dijak. I don't know why. I guess I just didn't click. I guess seeing that, I'm gonna have to amend my NXT tag title predictions, and I'll still say Undisputed Era, but I will go with just Cole competing, and he's gonna compete twice, and him and O'Reilly are gonna retain. So I want to make that note very quickly because I put a lot into Dijak. In fact, I was even going to go further about Dijak, but now there's no need because they kind of just blew that up for me before it even started.
Okay.
As far as Chris Dijak, I'm torn between him and Itami winning the tournament personally.
Really?
Yeah,
I think WWE is just done with Itami, unfortunately.
I do too. The only reason I think he would even go, like, he could win is because he is that NXT alum and they treated him a lot better in NXT, I feel like.
Yeah.
So he has more credibility there. But Dijak's an impressive fucking dude. Like, you know, so and if he is a babyface because he's competing against Arya Davari, that only substantiates my argument possibly that EC3 would win because you'd want to face a heel champion. So I could see it being Dijak and EC3. And I'll go with EC3 retaining because, you know, I do think you're right that he is presented more as a heel. So maybe he'll just, like, grab the tights or feet on the ropes because he'll be so beat up from the ladder match. So I will go with him retaining, but it's very tentative. I'm actually tempted to go with a title change, but at the same time, too, it's such a new belt. I think you want to give it stability right away. And I don't think they'd want to play hot potato like this. So I will go with the champion retaining. But yeah, I'm actually going to go on a limb. Chris Dijak wins this. And let's see. Let me look at the brackets again to see what the finals would look like. Yeah, he's gonna beat Hideo in the semis. And then he's going to beat, I'll say, Fabian Eichner in the finals. Because I like Eichner. You know, I'm high on him. And I think NXT.
You know, it's so funny because I was actually thinking about having Hideo win it, beating Eichner in the finals, and then losing to Dream in the final in the title match.
Interesting. So yeah,
I think you and I are on the same page as far as Eichner. You know what though? I am going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to say Itami Tozawa in the finals, and Itami wins the tournament and then loses to Dream in the title match on Sunday.
Yeah. So there you go. God, please, Velveteen Dream, please don't let this become a nightmare for me. Win that championship and just send us all home happy as far as the North American division, please. So that's all I got to say about that, which means we've only got 2 huge matches left. Brother, what are we talking about next?
The only non-title match left on the show, and I think the match that people are most emotionally invested in, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, unsanctioned match.
God. You know what? No, because once I go, I won't be able to stop. You go first.
This is a tough one for me because I feel like you could really go 2 very vastly different directions with this. I think that you could have Gargano win and get into title contention and maybe even win the title and add the championship to this feud. But then on the other hand, you could also have Ciampa win. Gargano gets the call up and Ciampa follows him to the main roster, and those guys continue their feud on Raw or SmackDown. I think that is a really interesting kind of option that I've been pulling for months now, I feel like.
Yeah.
But seems very unlikely to happen. But at the same time, they're really like, if Johnny Gargano loses, he's done in NXT and banned and everything. Like, it really, like I said, there are 2 completely opposite, vastly different directions they could go with this. But at the end of the day, I think NXT is very high quality writing, but I also think that they take very few risks. And I think that the safest option here is just to have Gargano win. So I'm going to pick Gargano to win here.
First of all, I have to praise the build. These 2 are absolutely brilliant at what they fucking do. I've watched that video package. I mean, you would have thought that video package was the Infinity Wars trailer with how many times I've watched it. No joke. Like, yeah. I've loved it. The story is fantastic. And you know what? In an odd way, Ashton, me watching it over and over actually helped me come to my decision. Because one big part of the narrative that I didn't really appreciate until now is that, I mean, first of all, just from them coming together as DIY and then splitting apart, it's always been about 2 words: my moment. And Johnny Gargano said at NXT TakeOver New Orleans, I get to finally have my moment. Because Ciampa even said when he turned on Gargano, this isn't our moment, this is my moment. So everybody's gotten their moment except Johnny. You know, even when DIY won the tag titles, you could almost say that wasn't entirely Johnny's moment because he shared it with Ciampa. So I think Johnny's going to finally get his moment in the sun, just him, after being screwed out of the NXT title, losing his job, losing his friend. He's finally going to get that moment that he's been craving and he's been searching, and he's been fighting for so long, and he's going to beat Ciampa in what should be an absolutely incredible match. I mean, just by storytelling alone, this match should be a match of the year contender. But we still have to see the finished product. And if it's anything even comparable to their Cruiserweight Classic match, which I expect them to exceed it because this actually has a narrative to it.
Dude, and I was even going to say, like, I think they're going to harken back to their Cruiserweight Classic match a lot, which almost leads me to believe Ciampa will win. Because if you remember, Ciampa had Gargano beat and then he hesitated. And that is the biggest reason why Gargano was able to win. Well, if Ciampa isn't going to hesitate, and there's a chance Gargano will, Ciampa almost has to win, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right about that because that's an excellent point. You know, in the Cruiserweight Classic, they were both baby faces, but there's no kindness left in the heart, now the black heart, of Tommaso Ciampa. And so, like, he will shoot to kill when the time is right, so to speak. That said, and I could even, and see, I can't even say that said, I don't think WWE, because this isn't just WWE, this is NXT, and I do think their writing would be that clever if they really thought about it. So it's difficult, but I'm still going to go with Gargano solely because I feel like the narrative of the moment trumps any narrative that they had in a prior match. And Gargano still hasn't had his definitive moment, and I think he's going to get it in New Orleans because he's a babyface and it's WrestleMania weekend, and he's a babyface with nothing to lose and everything to gain. I feel like it's prime for him to get that pop. So Gargano for the win.
Oh, this is so hard.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm struggling so much with it. I do know why. It's because you reminded me of their damn CWC match, and the whole story in that match was Ciampa wasn't able to pull the trigger on his good friend Johnny Gargano, and I think that was like the seed. Like that seed was planted, and Ciampa let it just grow and grow and grow, and him messing up Johnny at TakeOver Chicago was like the culmination. Like that was the full bloom of said seed. And I just have such a hard time now saying, oh, Gargano is totally going to win, when the story is Ciampa would have beaten him if he didn't hesitate. And there's no way he's going to hesitate anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Oh. All right. I'm going to do it. I'm going to pull the trigger. Ciampa's winning. Gargano's gone. Gargano's going to do something else. Maybe go to the main roster. Maybe he'll do something like what we've been. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do. I don't know. Normally we like to talk about what's going to happen in the future after the thing happens that we're already trying to predict. But I just don't know where you go after this. And I'm okay with that because I think that the most compelling story is that Ciampa has to win here and then maybe even set his sights on the NXT title or the North American title or something like that. I don't know, but Ciampa has to win. I'm picking Ciampa.
All right. Interesting. Dude, you already know the Johnny scumbag in me. I will laugh at Johnny so hard if he loses. And like, if I get the one thing I want, because I know the one thing you wanted on this card was Zelina Vega versus Candice. I want Ciampa to Project Ciampa Candice in that match. Like, I think she's going to get involved at one point to like comfort Johnny because something really bad's going to happen to him, like this really bad spot. And then Ciampa's just going to grab her and Project Ciampa. I will laugh so hard at that entire family. So I hope you're right. Like, the Johnny scumbag in me hopes that you're correct. And given that you are a pretty intelligent guy, I don't know. I'm kind of rubbing my hands together evilly, kind of expecting a feast. So we'll see. So with that said, we have one more match to talk about. And God, I feel like it would almost be just for me to talk about this match first. But it's Aleister Black versus Andrade Cien Almas, NXT Championship. I'm not going to talk about it first because, again, I'm so hyped about this. I know that I won't be able to stop. So you go first. What are you thinking about this match?
We already did this. This is going to be my third time in a row talking first. No, I don't think so. You go.
All right, fine. This match is going to be amazing. This match is going to be absolutely incredible. I think both guys are at the top of their game right now. And honestly, like, I know everybody's psyched for the ladder match. I know everybody's psyched for Gargano Ciampa, as they should be. But as a guy that is the self-professed advocate of Almas, don't sleep on this match, guys. Don't underestimate Almas and Black in a ring together in only their second encounter. And I love the story here. You want to talk about reaching back for stories. Aleister Black's debut was at the expense of Andrade, Cien, Almas. And now all this time later, Black is this fully realized performer. But Andrade, the new Andrade, who you could say in a way Black's never faced, is the man. He's the NXT champion. You know, there was a time where I would have felt like Black would have gone to the title before Almas, given the trajectory of his booking. And yet here we are. I think this match is going to be incredible. I think this match has the potential to be match of the night, because even though it doesn't have the narrative substance of Gargano Ciampa, and I will readily acknowledge that, and that's probably its biggest weakness, it doesn't need ladders, it doesn't need crazy spots, and it doesn't need excessive violence. It just needs two brilliant in-ring performers, and in my opinion, it's got that. I mean, Andrade has been cooking on another level, wrestling out of his goddamn mind at only 28 years old. And Black, again, he's found himself. It's this fully realized gimmick, and I've said it once and I'll say it again. It is a license to print money. And that's just the thing, isn't it? Like, Black is this amazing character performer, the kind of character that, you know, on a certain post-WrestleMania Raw would probably get a huge fucking pop. And at the same time, though, Andrade, like in one weekend after TakeOver Philadelphia, successfully defended his NXT Championship and participated in the Royal Rumble and actually lasted a good bit too. And I feel like even eliminated Kofi Kingston. So, like, both of these guys have shine on them where it's like, yeah, main roster, we want you now. And that's where I'm conflicted, because I am so enamored with this fucking title reign. And another reason I picked Gargano to win, I feel like Gargano and Almas aren't done with each other. It's crazy because they've had 4 matches, but I still feel like they have incredible matches to give. And this one would be the most incredible because Gargano would finally win the championship. And then Ciampa would ruin that too. I could see him attacking Gargano while he's looking at the championship, just, you know, shot to the back with maybe a steel chair or some shit.
Do you know why I didn't go that route, though, John?
Why is that?
Why would Ciampa let Johnny win the title?
And see, my answer to that would be Ciampa would be preoccupied with another feud. Not a championship feud, because obviously he'd want the NXT title, and I don't think.
So you think Ciampa is even capable of being distracted by something that leads him away from the feud with Johnny?
I think by force he is, and I think it would be by somebody with enough force. Like, and see, I would have said originally Cassius Ohno, but I really feel like they're going to turn him heel. So that's kind of the conflict for me. Maybe a Killian Dain. I don't know. Maybe he pisses off Killian Dain somehow. And we did say he was the gatekeeper, right? So Ciampa gets in a feud with Killian Dain over some weird motivation. Then you get Ciampa Gargano. I'll readily admit it's probably confirmation bias on my end, but I do feel like Gargano and Almas are not done with each other. And that's one big reason why I picked Gargano. But that being said, you're probably all saying to yourselves, well, John, that would obviously necessitate then that Almas beats Black. And yes, it does. You're not wrong. But that's where I struggle. Like, can I bring the hammer down fully on this logic? Because I'm really struggling here. On one hand, I have been loving this fucking title reign. I really have. And honestly, another thing too, I want Almas and McIntyre to have their rematch. You know, I want Almas to go out and steal the fucking show with everybody and thumb his nose at everybody that this championship has never had the quality of matches that it's had until I held it, and like really make a legacy with it. And you guys also know that I'm heavily colored by bias, because Almas is, and I even said this to a friend today, he's WWE Mundo. That's as high as it fucking gets for a dude to be WWE Mundo in Almas, because that's essentially saying that everybody else can just take turns washing his jockstrap. But I don't want that bias to cloud my judgment. And Black has been on such a trajectory that the NXT Championship seems inevitable. So what do we do? And plus, this is totally different from the Gargano story. They are taking Black 150% seriously. Yeah. And you could tell that because he got under their skin bad. So
Zelina even admitted that he got in our heads.
Yeah. And because of that, and because Andrade got a huge beatdown 2 weeks ago, I'm really leaning to Black, but then I would have to just say that my prior logic was wrong, which I mean wouldn't be a first. And so
the last thing you want is cognitive dissonance, though. You got to be able to look at it objectively and think about it.
I do. You absolutely do. And that's where I really struggle. More than the North American Championship match, more than Gargano Ciampa, this is the match I really struggle because I feel like Almas's reign has objectively so much more to give. But how much longer are we going to wait for Black to really reign supreme over NXT? And so, you know what? Because it's Mania weekend and you want to go out on the big fucking pop. And see, another thing, too, can I just say this, too? I think card structure really matters here. Because if this match doesn't main event, I think that actually lends credence to Almas retaining. Because I am convinced that because it's Mania weekend and it's like going to fucking Disney World in WWE's mind, you want happy endings all around.
Yeah.
Or at least what in their mind would be a happy ending, right? So if this doesn't main event, Almas would retain, but Gargano would get his job back. If this does main event, I don't know if that changes Gargano Ciampa any. Maybe it does. But I would have to say our Black is going to win the NXT Championship. So assuming this is going to be the main event because it is the world title, it is with a heavy heart and after a lot of preambling that I'm going to say Aleister Black's going to be the new NXT champion. But as a fan, I am going to be rooting my fucking heart out for Almas because I don't want this reign to end. I've grown that attached to him. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. Now, Ashton, I've talked enough so much that I made up for all the times that you went first. So now give us your full thoughts because I want to know your logical process when you kind of dissect this match and your final conclusion.
I always like to try and figure out where they go from here after the match ends, depending on the result. So I immediately agree that if Almas would retain, his most likely next opponent would be Gargano, which would require Gargano to win and get his job back. And I think that if Black wins, his options are wide freaking open because he could have another feud with Velveteen Dream. He could have a feud with Adam Cole. He could have a feud with EC3. He could have a feud with Tommaso Ciampa. There are so many options for a babyface champion right now. The tide really feels like it has turned to the point that a babyface champion makes more sense than Andrade keeping the title right now. And I also think that this is a match not only where the winner gets the NXT championship, but also where the loser gets called up. And I think, believe it or not, that the packaging of Andrade with Zelina is more main roster ready than Aleister Black by himself right now.
And dude, I just want to tack on because I didn't even talk about the aftershocks. And I completely agree with you 1000%. They better hope that Andrade gets used correctly because I will have a very angry Twitter. I mean, that's really all I can do, admittedly, but I will really have a very angry thread in me because I am like holding my fucking breath about him being called up. Like, I see the world in this dude. Again, I was talking with a friend today. To me, he is that top Hispanic star. I think if he has the longevity and he goes the distance, which I hope he does because he's only 28, I think he still has a lot to give yet. He could surpass Rey Mysterio in the context of Rey's WWE run, not in an entire career, but just in WWE. I feel like Almas could surpass Rey and really be that guy, but WWE's got to let him be that guy, and that's where I'm really like wringing my hands. So yeah, like I agree with you. Almas is probably going to be called up imminently. I just hope it goes well, man. I really do.
Yeah. So that's my official prediction. I'm officially predicting Aleister Black to win. And Andrade gets called up on, I do think he makes the most sense on SmackDown. So I'm going to say on SmackDown.
Dude, just picture it. Andrade and fucking Nakamura for the WWE Championship, retreading their rivalry when it was La Sombra and Nakamura for the IC title in New Japan. Oh my God.
You could even kind of expand out from that and say Andrade versus Daniel Bryan.
Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Please let him be on SmackDown. Please let him be on SmackDown, and please let him get in the main event scene within, you know what, give him a calendar year, maybe just working mid-card, upper mid-card, but then the next year, please get him in the main event. Because he'll be like 29, 30 by that time. And just get him there. Because I want to see Andrade versus Styles. I want to see Andrade versus Nakamura. You guys already know all the fucking dream matches I want. Do not fuck me on this, WWE. Because I'm really kissing goodbye to a title reign I was really enjoying. And I think you were too. Like, he's been an amazing champion. But, you know, Black's undeniable. And that's nothing against Black. Like, he's brilliant too. I just really hope they take good care of Andrade. I can't believe you and I both agree that Black's winning.
Well, dude, the thing is, like, whenever somebody else says, "Oh, Aleister Black's winning," I just have that like initial guttural, visceral rejection of that idea, and like, no, like Andrade's too good. He can't lose the title to this. Like, he's gonna be the one to give Aleister Black his first singles loss. Like, they had Aleister lose in that 4-way on purpose to soften the blow when he finally does lose his first singles match, to set up this match so that he could lose to Andrade and people wouldn't riot. And this, like, I have so many justifications for why Andrade is going to win, but at the end of the day, looking forward, Aleister makes the most sense to be the champion going forward.
Oh God. And see, that's both the beauty and the terror of this takeover for me. Really the beauty and the terror of Mania weekend, because if you're a wrestling fan, like I know all of us are, where you just watch the product consistently, and even if not consistently, you're always keeping your finger on the pulse of what WWE is doing. Like, this is the time where possibilities really start to flower. And you can really start to think, this guy's going to do this and that guy's going to do that. And it's been a long time coming to me of Andrade being on the main roster and us doing a lot of conjecture about what he can do. And I feel like now it's not just a drill. Like, this shit's going to go down. And I really hope it goes down well. So this NXT Championship match, more than most in recent memory, I am going to approach with such apprehension, because on one hand, like, I'm such an Andrade mark. I want him to win. I want him to reign for 100 years as champion, but I know all reigns have to end. And I just hope his aftermath is kind to him, dude. I really do, because I can't be positive about that right now, not until I'm shown something. And so it's going to be a brilliant match, but my God, my stomach's going to be in my throat the entire time. Oh, man. Man, takeover, man. Just a few days away. I can't fucking believe it. I can't fucking believe it.
2 days, man. 2 days. Not even a few, a couple.
Guys, I mean, I feel like we went to distance on this preview prediction. We went over an hour on this preview predictions. We really unpacked a lot of these matches.
Yeah. And tomorrow's preview predictions is going to be even longer, because we've got like 12 matches to cover.
I know, dude. Jesus Christ. And yeah, and you know what, just to address Brandon very quickly, dude, if your boy wins the title, I'll be fucking happy for you and enjoy it. Enjoy the run, because you never know when tomorrow it becomes a shit show. Like, just, you know, being truthful, like, Aleister's on the top of his game. Enjoy it. And I think it's going to be just a barn burner of a fucking match. Which
it's actually 13 matches that we've got to cover tomorrow. I was mentally blocking out the thought of Ronda Rousey competing.
Oh, God. Let me just ask you this, because now we're going to shift gears. And by the way, guys, I still am at a 10 out of 10 for this takeover. I don't know if our preview upped your hype at all. I hope it did. But yeah, I'm still, I can't remember the last time I was this anticipatory for a takeover. Because let me just explain. Like, most takeovers I am excited for, but like this one I'm excited for, and I'm so conscious of the clock. And I'm never really that conscious of the clock. Like, is it takeover yet? Is it takeover yet? And Saturday is going to be fucking grueling. Like, I like getting work done on my Saturdays. Ash, I'm going to test this. We don't even meet up on Saturdays usually, because I choose that as like a work day. I'm not even going to be able to get any done, because I'm going to be thinking, like, is it takeover yet? I'm only going to be able to work once takeover is like done and I've relieved myself, you know, and I get it past me. But as far as Mania goes, just to kind of tease our fans a little bit, do you have any rants in you about any of these matches? Because I feel like I might have one or two in me. Is anything like making you especially angry on this card? Or are you just like, man, fuck it, let's just survive? Like,
I'll end up ranting about the women's WrestleMania Battle Royal.
All right, yeah, that's fair. That's definitely
I might rant about fans regarding the Cena Taker situation.
Oh yeah, that too, definitely. Yeah, I'm probably going to rant. I'll join you on that rant.
I'm definitely going to rant about Ronda Rousey.
Oh, that was the definitive one for me too. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. She's getting a rant from me because, oh my God, what a train wreck. And you know what? I'm not even going to rant about Reigns Lesnar because I've braced for it for so long. Like, I'm ready for Reigns to just dominate the Universal Championship.
You know what? I don't know if I'll go on a full-blown rant about that, but I definitely will have a lot to say about how we got here.
Right.
And then I'm also probably going to pick a little bit of a fight with the U.S. title match.
Interesting.
Oh, and just basically how the women have been booked in general on the entirety of the WWE's main roster.
I'd say more about this Mania, but you guys have got to wait for tomorrow for that. So that's going to be going live at 9 p.m. Eastern time.
Yep.
So
we going a little bit later tomorrow. Just, certain things showing up and different scheduling issues. So yeah, we're going to be a little bit later tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern time instead of 8 like it was today. And yeah, we've got people in chat talking about what they want to rant. So
and by the way, I'm grateful to chat for that because they reminded me of the other second definitive rant, Jack's Bliss. Oh,
well, I already said the women in general just have been so dirty.
Yeah. So I'm right there with you. But yeah, we are going to be going on a bit later. I want to thank everybody who came out. We had some really impressive numbers, throughout the course of this thing. If you haven't left a like yet, please do so on your way out as we begin to wrap up here. I love you guys. I can't wait to see you tomorrow for WrestleMania preview predictions and Takeover live reactions. Jesus fucking Christ. I can't even contain myself right now. But I am going to hand the reins over to Ashton. Ashton, take us home.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we hope that you enjoyed our NXT Takeover New Orleans preview and predictions. It has been over an hour actually since we started, so it's been a whole lot of fun. We've gone through 5 matches, and we just had so much to say about at least 3 of the 5, and really all of them to a degree. That it just feels like it's been like 10 minutes. It just feels like it's gone by that fast. If you're interested in supporting TwitWow as a brand, as a channel, John and myself as human beings, you can do so by either buying our merch on our Teespring store, which is linked in the description, or by donating to our Patreon, also linked in the description. $3 a month gets you exclusive access to the official TwitWow patron Discord channel, where you can discuss all things wrestling and really just about anything else as well with John and myself and other TwitWow fans. It's a lot of fun. And with your Patreon donation, you can also use that to request live reactions to wrestling shows of your choosing. And you're also helping us to keep our head above water and continue live reacting to Progress every week of every month. Of course, you can also follow us both on Twitter. We both have very business-oriented pinned tweets. John's pinned tweet is for Q&A questions. You respond to that pinned tweet, ask your Q&A questions. You can have up to 4 every month. And that's our best way of keeping track. My pinned tweet is the official TwitWow schedule, and the one that's up right now, I think, lasts until like April 13th or 14th or 17th or something like that, middle of April, basically. Our Facebook page, I'll make sure to share all of our videos on Facebook, so like the Facebook so that you can get in on that. And of course, like this video as well. Remember to leave a comment. Let us know what your predictions are for TakeOver New Orleans. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And then, of course, click on the bell icon once you do so that you can get notified every time we go live or upload a video. We've got WrestleMania preview predictions tomorrow, and then the weekend is live reactions. TakeOver Saturday, WrestleMania Sunday, plus it even bleeds into the week because we are also reacting to the post-Mania Raw and SmackDown on Monday and Tuesday. Plus, on Tuesday, we're also live reacting to Progress Chapter 11. Wednesday, we have a live reaction for you. We're live reacting to Ring of Honor's show that they're having on Saturday. I don't even remember what it's called, but there's a big Ring of Honor show on Saturday that we're going to be live reacting to on Wednesday. Thursday, we're doing 5 Fave 5s, and then Friday... Jesus, what are we doing on Friday? I gotta look. I don't even remember what we're doing on Friday. John, do you want to help me out here? What are we doing on Friday? Superstar Shakeup. We're doing a mock Superstar Shakeup because we're expecting the WWE to do a Superstar Shakeup on not this coming Monday and Tuesday, but the following Monday and Tuesday. So, holy hell, is the next week and a half loaded, guys. And that Super Card of Honor is the name of the Ring of Honor show we're going to be live reacting to on Wednesday. Sorry, it's tough to keep the names of all these shows in track. If you would ask me what the name of Progress Chapter 11 would be, I would have no goddamn clue, and I'm not even going to bother looking that up because you'll have to find out on Tuesday. We will see you guys tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern time for our WrestleMania live our preview and predictions, our WrestleMania 34 preview and predictions. Or if you're only here for NXT content, we will see you Saturday, where we will be live reacting to TakeOver New Orleans and splooging the entire night. Of course, either way, though, you're going to have to remember to do one thing, and that is stay tuned.